Hello and welcome to the Dragon's Lair podcast in association with Riverside Sports Bar, the home of live sport and great food in Newport. I'm Jamie, and joining me as always is Gavin Thomas and Gav Leclerc. Hello, gents. How are we?
I'm okay. Yeah.
Gareth, are you okay?
Not really.
No. Is the enthusiasm seeping away from you now? Is positive Gareth starting to come down a little bit now? I think he is, isn't he?
Yeah, they were positives, but I'm feeling a bit down about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's that time of the season already. I mean, only two games in.
Two
Marvellous.
games in.
Oh dear. You was refereeing on the weekend, wasn't you, Gav?
I was indeed,
Do you
yes.
want to tell us about that?
Yeah. My club side didn't have a ref. No one else could do it. I was meant to be playing. I ended up refereeing, and we conceded 10 tries.
Excellent.
And I had to send off one of my mates for the most outrageous deliberate knock-on you've ever seen.
Right. Was it Jaden Hendricks style knock on?
Jaden Hendricks says was a deliberate knock-on, but my mate's in the middle of a 3-on-1, flips his hand out and just smacks it into the air. He,
Oh,
I've blown
gee.
the whistle. He doesn't even bother to look at me. He's already walking to the
He's off.
sideline.
Yeah.
But
Oh, God, fair play.
I quite enjoy because I'm still a player.
Yeah.
I quite enjoyed it. At one point, one of the second rows is on the floor, and I'm looking at him, and I've blown the whistle. He goes, "Oh, I wonder where you were." And I was looking for people doing the stuff I know I would do.
Mm. Oh, well, fair play for you to give up your time being a ref. Like I said, not a lot of people want to do it, and it's a tough job, Gav, isn't it?
It is, yeah, but it kind of, if I hadn't done it, it wouldn't have been a game of rugby. And
No.
34 blokes would have been kicking their heels on the Saturday afternoon. Like,
Here we are. You saved the
Oh,
day.
top man.
Yeah, nice one. Right, gents, let's start with some good news. Yes, there is some good news.
What?
Yeah, so ready for this though? Strap yourselves in. Dragons have ended their 18-match losing streak in the URC. Unfortunately, though, the Dragons still can't win a game for love nor money, and we ended up with a draw instead. A result that, to me, I don't know about you guys, it felt like a loss.
yeah,
I
Yeah.
felt pretty down after that, even though we didn't lose, which is really weird to say. So that means the Dragons are now on a 19-match winless streak. First half tries from Alan Wainwright and Angus O'Brien, as well as the boot of Tina Stabia, had kept the men of Gwent in the hunt for their first victory in the URC since September the 21st, 2024, when they beat the Ospreys on the opening day of last season. Remember that? Remember that win? Does anyone still remember that win? It's been a long time, isn't it? But yes,
was it Luke Yendall who scored the winning try?
it was. Yeah, yeah. Like I said,
Derry Lake remembers.
Yeah, he had some stick off the terrace that day, O'Dowie, didn't he? Poor bloke. Oh dear. Yeah, it feels like a lifetime ago now, though, doesn't it? That's the problem. However, despite an opportunity to win after the clock had gone red, the Dragons couldn't quite get over the line. But it was the decision to turn down a drop goal attempt as the clock ticked past 80 minutes and has been the biggest talking point of the weekend. Now, Gareth, we'll come to you first. Before we get into the drop goal debate, we'll talk about that separately. So try not to mention that if you
Yeah.
can in your review, because I got a separate section planned for that. I want you to tell me your thoughts and overall analysis of that game, because like I said, we didn't lose, which is great for the Dragons because they always lose, but we didn't lose on this occasion. And yet, after the game, we was in the pub and we felt flat, and we both said that felt like a loss. So tell us the view from the terrace, please.
Oh, yeah. And yeah, it was good to have a pint before and after.
Yep.
It was downhill from that first point, really, wasn't it? I've never felt so lost after a game. I've had a pretty busy weekend, and the amount of times my wife's turned to me, she's been like, "You all right?" And I've just been sort of staring into the abyss, just zoned out. I just don't know how to feel about it. But I think, and I am doing a bit of soul searching, that I think I feel so disappointed because there was a lot of good in that Dragons performance, and I felt like I liked that team, and I really wanted us to get over the line, and I could really get behind it. So it was disappointing not to. On the pluses, I have to pick out Aaron Wainwright. I mean, the bloke, his try was fantastic. The way he picked the ball out of that scrum when we had the scrum close to the end was unbelievable. He basically picked it up off the scrum half's fingernails as he put it in. But I had a little look as well. I mean, like, he's 2 tries in 2 games.
Mhm.
He's for defenders beaten, he's joint top in the league on 9, and he's made 26 successful carries, which is 4th in the URC. I mean, Aaron Wainwright is like a one-man army at times, so I think he deserves a bit of a mention. But actually, on the game, there was so much good about it. I mean, Paella looked fantastic. His setup for Angus O'Brien's try was unbelievable. Powering through everything you want in a 13, hitting a strong line. It just looked exactly what we've been missing and why we signed him. So devastating to see him go off. Anisi, first home start as well. Thought he looked really elusive when he had his very rare touches of the ball. He looked like a box of tricks. So really pleased with him. And Tina's fallen in love with him. He's aggressive. He takes the ball to the line. I thought he had at times some really good game management. And I think what I was really pleased with, there was a point in that game where I thought we've lost this because our scrum was getting absolutely battered. And Gav, you know more about scrums than me to touch on how that was actually going, but it wasn't going in our favour. There was a time where I thought this game is gone, and we pick up a yellow card, and you just think, oh, we've blown it, we've lost. And you thought at one, or well, I thought at one point the Sharks are going to pull away here, and they get down on our line, but we stop that momentum, and we actually go on to look like we're going to win the game, and that isn't Dragonsy. That is very good. We then got down in their half. We kicked a penalty to take us to 17-0, and then we dominated the last sort of 5 minutes, being a man down. And you're like, wow, that's not normally us. We didn't just roll over and have our bellies tickled. So to then not win it was devastating because I felt like we really did deserve it. But some of the individuals, like Woodman, stole 2 lineouts, thought he was really good. But we looked like a collective team. I felt like we played as a team. We looked connected. Yeah, not everything was perfect. We're not the best side in the world, but we did look like a team. And at times last season, we didn't look like a team. So I enjoyed that element of it, but yeah, we didn't get the result. And I was just desperate for us to get it over the line. And I feel like we deserved it. I just don't know what happened with the scrum, but beyond that, we were the better side, and I feel like we should have taken the points.
When you say take the points, you felt that we should have gone for the drop goal.
Yes. I mean, at that point, I think I was dead silent on the terrace because I was just a bag of nerves. What are we going to do? But a lot of people were screaming at the pitch, drop goal, drop goal. And it felt like they were screaming that for a long time. Tinas went in the pocket a few times. A lot of that time, the Rodri was nowhere near the ball and the forwards were picking and going. And that long pass out to Angus, if you're going to do that, you've got to absolutely nail it. And it bounces, so it gives the defence time to scramble across. It might have been the right option, but it was poorly executed by Rodri.
It wasn't the right option, though, Gav.
No, we should.
We'll talk about it a bit.
Yeah,
but
we should have went
right
for the droppy. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. The Dragons' possession in the final 10 minutes of the game was 87%. That's
A man down as well.
quite a lot. Down to 14 men, and yet we had all that possession in the last 10 minutes. And I'm coming away thinking, on the one hand, how did we get away with not losing? But also, I'm coming away thinking, how did we not win?
And one thing as well to add that absolutely killed us, especially when the scrum wasn't going well. Angus O'Brien's restarts. 3.
I know.
3 out on the foot. I mean,
he didn't have a good game, did he? Let's be honest. Okay, there was a couple of nice touch finders, but this was not a good game for Angus at all. His kicking in those conditions just wasn't good enough.
It's not enough. And when you pick Angus, you pick him because he's a good rugby player. He's a good all-rounder, and he should be pretty safe. And when he's making basic errors, you think, well, I'd rather pick Hugh Anderson, who at least could be a match winner. Oh God, Jesus.
I know.
Oh, it's doing my head in. But that was a killer because then it was a scrum on halfway. Sharks would then get a penalty, and then they're booting us down in the corner. And you just think we should be pressurising them to exit down in their 22, and instead we're defending in ours. And it's a coach killer, isn't it? How are you kicking 3 off on the full? Do it once, I'll forgive that. Like if a kicker goes for the corner, misses, fine, once, but not 3 times.
Yeah.
That for me was appalling, and ultimately that put us on the back foot for a lot of the game.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think Angus was going for distance on those kicks when really you just need to be accurate. You need accuracy, not distance in those conditions, I'm afraid. Because, the ball was being dropped left, right, and centre. It was very greasy, awful conditions. But you tried to put too much distance on the ball. And like you said, you do it once, okay, it happens. You do it twice, you go, oh, well. 3 times, 3 in a row. It's pretty unforgivable, really, isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah,
really
at this
disappointing.
level, you're not going to get away with it.
No. Have you ever seen a better debut from a player than Fatuli Paya? Because I thought he was excellent, like as you mentioned. However, is there anything more dragonsy than him injuring his right wrist when making the tackle and then getting wiped out by his own teammate Angus O'Brien and then seeing his arm in a sling? I mean, we have seen a lot of dragonsy things in our lifetime, haven't we, guys? But honestly, was that the most dragonsy thing ever?
Oh,
To play
Really?
so well and then pick up an injury and then just get wiped out. I mean, he went arse over tit, mind, when Angus went into him. And it was comical, wasn't it? To watch, it was like, oh my God. But it was
devastating
just
though, because
so dragonsy, wasn't it?
what a debut. I mean, I
Brilliant.
thought Ackerman was great when he came on. I feel like he could dominate collisions as well and carried hard, but he's never a 13. We
No,
can't play with two 12s, so
No.
no, that's it. And he is the 13. No disrespect to the other players in the squad, but we've been crying out for somebody like him.
Mhm.
And the other
yeah.
centres in the squad can't do that. They just can't do what he did on Friday night. And I hope it's not serious, but when you got your arm in a sling like that, it does make me feel the worst. Gavin, let's come to you then. You watched it on the telly. What's
I
your
did.
thoughts and
Right.
takeaways on that game?
So positives. Yeah, I will start with the positives.
Okay, yeah,
Positives. Tacking structure looked better. I think Paella had a hand in that because he just ran straight and he ran hard and he
yeah,
allowed other people to work off him. But I thought the attacking distribution that the beer offers, as Gareth said, because he takes up the line hard, and it's hard to defend that. So that was positive. I thought the line out, particularly when Brody was on the field, was secure, and Woodman competed well to get their ball. I thought we were better at the breakdown. It still wasn't perfect, but we were a lot more combative at the breakdown.
yeah,
I thought broken field we looked more dangerous, particularly in Nisi. He just needs a couple of yards and a bit of space, and he's gone. And if it'd been a better night and we got the ball to him, it'd been interesting to see what we could do. So, positives, negatives, decision making at key times.
hmm
I won't labour too much on it because I know you want to talk a bit more about that.
yeah,
But that wasn't the only point. There were other points when we made decisions that shot us in the foot, particularly attacking decisions. The kicking game, particularly Angus's, but kicking from hand was poor. And on a night when it really needed just to be safety first, there were too many poor decisions made. I thought defensively was better, but we weren't aggressive enough on the gain line.
mm.
We weren't getting cut apart, but we were probably letting them further over the gain line than we wanted to do. Scrummaging, well, it fell apart. It fell apart partially because we weren't combative enough.
yeah,
And there just wasn't our aggression in our hit in the scrum. But also, if you add to that fact, they were going slightly early and the ref didn't pick up on it.
mm.
And the loose edge was just, he was Finley Beelan minute. His bum was
Yeah,
sticking out.
yeah, true.
And yeah, he's coming at an angle. The Robert hand can't actually then drive against. He's only driving into the guy's head. So if that picked up, who knows? But we were on toast, and it got worse
Yeah,
when we lost our better scrummages. So positives. Wayno's in great form.
yeah,
The
he is.
beer's good, but we're still shooting ourselves in the arse, aren't we?
Yeah, that's
Do
it.
you think he got selection right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say yeah.
Yeah, there was a physicality to it, wasn't it? And I was unsure why Woodman was getting the nod over Keddy, because I don't think Keddy's an out-and-out 7, but he's damn sight more of a 7 than Shane Lewis-Hughes is. But there was an aggression and there was a physicality there from both Woodman. And Woodman brings us that kind of option in the lineup because he's arms, isn't he? He's just arms and not a lot else. And
he's a good player, and he, to be fair. Yeah, I thought he nailed selection, to be fair. And I know we had messaged in the week being like, oh, will the Tombola be out? But yeah, I thought we looked.
And the backs were right, weren't they? You know, that was the right set of backs. You know, and Iron had space because instead of him having to be on the line, because the beer was taking it so hard up to the bit and then drawing the pass back.
Look a lot better.
Now he was in space, and then it helps when you've got like a large South Sea Islander on your shoulder who's willing to run into anything.
Yeah, I don't think selection was an issue, although I still think, could we have done with Big Mac? Would he have made any difference? We'll never know, but you know, physicality, size, going through those phases as we did, could he have gone over the gain line if he was in that position? I don't know if he was fit or not because the Dragons are not telling us anything. He was in the warm-up. Yeah,
he was there warming up, so I guess he should have been fit. Yeah,
so it's probably tactical reasons then, I'm guessing.
Yeah. I think Keddy is the better option because basically Mackenzie Martin would have been another Woodman, Shane Lewis-Hughes, whereas Keddy does bring you a bit more of that Jacqueline, that threat at the breakdown, doesn't he?
Yeah, and I like Woodman. It'd be harsh to say, you know, he shouldn't have been involved. He had a good game, but part of me just wondered if that would have been a good game for Big Mac. So there's been a lot of comments about the ref after this game from disgruntled supporters. Now, as regular listeners will know, I try to avoid criticising referees. It's not what I do on this pod. I don't like it. I know a lot of supporters do it because it's the easiest thing to do when it covers up the team failing. So I try to avoid it the best I can. However, I am going to have to be off it. I am going to have to be a bit more honest and break rank a little bit here. I did feel the Dragons were harshly treated at times by the officials. Sharks were getting all the 50-50 calls. Yes, the scrum was a disaster for the Dragons. There's no denying that. We were penalised 9 times in our area, which is quite a lot. But as you mentioned earlier, Gav, there were a couple of scrums happening in front of us where you could see the loose head was coming in at an angle. They weren't driving straight on a number of occasions, also early hits, but they were getting away with it. And the referee was oblivious to it. So, yeah, we did struggle in the scrum, absolutely, but they did get away with a couple as well. You know, which good teams do, I suppose. They get away with it. They were shooting outside the line defence constantly, particularly in the last 10 minutes. And I watched the game back, and James Hook, funny enough, said on commentary exactly what I said to my father in the stand. He said, Sharks are practically living offside. That's exactly what I said to my old man. And they were. Even when I watched it back, I thought, Jesus, it was obvious at the time, watching it in the stands. But when you watch it on the telly, how they didn't get pinged for offside, I do not know. Big decision in the 79th minute. Jaden Henriksen getting away with a deliberate knock-on. So the referee consulted with the assistant, Ben Whitehouse. The crowd were going nuts because it was on the replay, wasn't it? So the crowd were chanting, TMO, TMO, which is quite funny. He goes over to Ben Whitehouse, and Whitehouse says, and I quote, "For me, it's a knock-on only. He had no time to react to the pass." I disagree with that, Ben, sorry.
If you stick one hand out, I don't care how much time you've got. Unless you've got massive inflatable hands, you're not catching the ball in one hand, do you?
He should have gone to TMO. Ben Whitehouse got that wrong.
There's a reason it's called Ben Shitehouse, isn't it?
Exactly. And like I said, I do not like criticising referees, but sometimes you have got to come out and say, that's not right. And I felt the referee got a lot of calls wrong. Sharks got all the 50-50 calls. And that decision, not even to look at the TMO for Jane Hanks, that was wrong. They should have gone to TMO because for me, I've watched it a few times, so that was a deliberate knock-on.
It was a killer as well. There was a few, you mentioned them shooting out the line. The terrace was going nuts. And by the way, shout out to the terrace in good voice.
They was, yeah.
Friday night. They put the heat on. They supported the boys. That was good. And there was one, oh God, I think the amount of times I've spent this weekend looking at the ceiling. Brody got done for a crooked throw when they threw up 2 jumpers. And honestly, it was one of the best lineups I've ever seen. We took it in the middle of the two of them. It was right in front of us on the terrace. And Brody didn't even get a note. He was just gobsmacked. And so were we. And you just like, can we just fuck off. Like, it was the worst conditions I've ever seen in my life. And it was straight. It's ridiculous. There should be a bit of sort of margin anyway, but in those conditions. But come on, let us play a game of rugby. It's absolutely killed us. And again, just halts momentum. They're getting a scrum from it. They then win a pen from that scrum. And you're just like, we do not deserve this. Yeah, a bit frustrated with the officials, to say the least.
Yeah, and like I said, I do try and stray away from this sort of chat, but I felt we were harshly done on a number of calls,
Yeah,
to be honest, and I was
definitely.
really frustrated.
The offside was definitely the case.
Yeah,
He, he wasn't policing the offside. Bizarrely, when he did police it, was the last couple of minutes, but it was too late by then because he'd spent the entire game ignoring the kind of where they were and the breakdown. There was there were times when they were off their feet. There were times when they were competing when they shouldn't have. And for me, and I know he was reffing in his second language, but he wasn't communicating enough what was going on.
yeah. I think he's relatively inexperienced. Wasn't this his fifth or sixth game?
Sixth game, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
It's hard work.
you got to start somewhere. I get it, but why do we always get the inexperienced rubbish refs? I mean, I'm not blaming the ref for Dragons not winning, by the way. Just want to make that absolutely clear.
No.
But I do feel that we were harshly treated at times, and all the 50-50 calls went against us, I thought. But that's just the way it goes, I guess. Right. Let's talk about the biggest talking point all weekend, the drop goal that never was. As you can imagine, social media went wild after Dragons refused to take that drop goal. And so did me and you, Gareth, in the pub afterwards, didn't we? We were just in bemusement. Yeah. Right, so this is what Philo said after. He said, you could see that Tinas was ready to go and was in the pocket. I really trust the players to make decisions on the field, he says. And it just didn't go to his hands. We got to the edge, we got momentum, and we put them under the pump. I felt there were a couple of advantage opportunities, but the man in the middle and touch judge didn't see it like that. I think that's a very subtle Philo way of saying the referee was shit.
I thought there was an advantage. I think there was a point. We'd taken it far to the right far corner. And the first whack was fine. He's controlled the offside. But the second, there's a few just straying offside. And I was shouting at my son, they're offside, they're offside, stick your arm up, ref.
Yeah, and Philo's not the kind of guy to complain about officiating. No. Like, he doesn't strike me as that kind of coach. A lot of coaches do it, but Philo doesn't strike me as that kind of guy. So, yeah, I agree with him. I think we are actually treated personally. So, look, as I said, social media was raging at the Dragons for taking that drop goal, right? And there was a number of posts on X that caught my eye, and I just want to read some out here. So, Jiffy, Jonathan Davis said, how can you not know how to drop a goal? These lads are paid to think as well as play. Martin Gillingham, who was the commentator on this game, he's commentator for Premier Sports. This is what he said. Having done so well to set up a winning position with just 14 men, the Dragons blew it against the Sharks. More than a year without a URC win, and fly half Tinas de Beer was in position for the drop goal. But repeatedly, he was ignored. Woeful leadership and decision-making. Jeff Neville is an Irish rugby analyst and co-host of the Provincial State of Mind podcast. He follows us on the social. I don't know if he listens to the pod, but he does follow us and he does interact now and again. This is what he said on the night. He said, that was crazy from the Dragons. They worked their way to the right touchline for some mad reason, found their way back 5 meters out in front of the posts again. Drop goal was on. Game winner surely. And then they let fly to the right looking for a try. Utter madness. I don't care what players saw what space or called what. That was utter madness. And then he put up another post on Saturday night, which I did share because I thought it was funny. He said, Dragons don't go for the drop goal last night. Benetton dropped to win in the last play. Prendergast goes for it for Leinster. Kieran Crowley drops one to extend the lead to 8. It's like everyone looked at it and said, don't pull a Dragons. Which did make me laugh. You can just imagine the coaches in the changing room. Can you guys, whatever you do, just go out there, enjoy it, but don't pull a Dragons. So I thought that was quite funny. So let's come to you then, Gavin. You've just heard the reaction. We'll get the reaction of our listeners as well. We'll dip into the mailbox. Woeful leadership and decision making, utter madness. Do you agree with those comments? Why did we not go for the drop goal?
Right. So, bear with me. When I was younger, huge fan of the Smiths. Still
Oh
am.
yeah, good
Try
start.
try to ignore what Morrissey says now.
Yeah.
It's another thing entirely. But a huge fan of the Smiths. And
Yeah.
my son's always on TikTok. And bizarrely, there's weird songs that come up. I knew there's a light that never goes out. That's always on
Classic.
TikTok.
Yep.
The lyrics that were running through my head. Because in the line it says, yeah, in the darkened underpass, I thought my time would come at last, but a strange fear gripped me and I just couldn't ask. In this case, a strange fear gripped Rodri and he couldn't pass.
Yeah.
I,
Right, Gav, can we have this as a regular feature? I want you to delve into song lyrics that can relate to the Dragons and the worries and the struggles, because that's a great start.
I will see I will see what I can do. But it was like, he's in the pocket. And I'm like, why are you not? Why are you not? And like, look, I'm a forward. I know I'd have been bellowing at my nine to give it to me. But I've also played with enough nines to be, shut up, you aren't getting it, shut your mouth. I understand they thought the conditions were bad, right? I get that.
But they kicked a penalty before that, man,
Yeah.
Gav, from a much further distance, so that don't really wash with me.
And you've got a choice, haven't you?
Yeah.
You can try grinding it, but there's always a chance you're going to drop it. You can throw a risky pass, you can drop it. Or you can give it back to the 10, who's kicked brilliantly all day. And if we miss, at least we've tried. You know, going back to that Smith's lyric, you know, if you don't ask, you don't get. If you don't kick, you don't score.
Oh, I
So,
love it.
yeah, that's ridiculous.
Okay. Gareth, I know you've touched on it already, but is there any more that you want to add? Well, why do you think? Can you justify in any way not going for that drop goal? Because I finding it
No.
very, very difficult. It was the wrong decision, wasn't it?
We'd done the hard bit as well. So where the scrum was right at the beginning of all that was, I think it was outside the 22. So it's, I agreed. Let's not go for a droppy on the 40-meter line because
No.
of the conditions. That is a risk. We'd done the hard bit. We had made all the yardage and we were under the sticks on the line that we had to pull the trigger. I think it lies with Rodri. He's the one dictating the play. He's the one flinging out the pass.
Yeah.
I think Rodri, you know, a lot of players dictated by Rodri. But any of the senior players could have just said, fucking throw it to Tinas. Like, just do it. It's just take the shot. We've done the hard bit. I'm just devastated that we should be celebrating a win now. We really should. And I'm like devastated because I want us to win. I'm devastated for those players because I felt like we'd done the hard work to deserve it. The fans deserve it. You turn up on, honestly, those conditions at times were absolutely horrendous. Ironically, at the time when he should have been dropping a goal, it had suddenly died down. And I think he should have had the ball. It should have gone back to Tinas or Angus, either way, and we should have went for it. And if we miss, whatever, we've died on our swords. Let's just go for it. Let's throw that punch. We can accept that. I just think it's a missed opportunity for us.
It wasn't even. It was the obvious thing to do.
Yeah, everyone in the crowd was just like, drop the goal, and we were just waiting for the pass to go back. All I was watching the whole time was just Rodri, because a lot of the time he wasn't at the ball. Forwards were picking and going. Sharks at that point had given up on competing at the ball as well. The ball was always safe.
We weren't getting over the line because if you tried picking and going, everyone was there. There were two guys on the post.
Yeah.
You're not going to smash two large South Africans out of the way to get over the line. And it was just too much risk. I used to play with a guy called Dan O'Rourke. He's a lovely guy. He's played for every club in the southeast, it feels like. But Dan would try having a drop kick from anywhere. I'm not joking. I once tried a drop goal from our 22 in a charity game. And I'm not saying do that, but when you're 18 metres out in front of the post, maybe try it then.
Yeah, we got to that position, didn't we? And that was the hard part. The drop goal was, in essence, the easy bit. Oh, we should be celebrating a win.
Yeah. I think those last couple of minutes, so when I wrote this on X after the game, I think those last couple of minutes showed why we are what we are, why the Dragons are the way they
Mm.
are, why we are the worst team in the league, why we probably are now the worst team in Europe, why we never win games. Because, and I've said this before, and I make no apologies for saying it, we are a pretty thick team. We
Yeah,
are
no,
a team that's low on rugby IQ. And even Bernard Chapman said after the game, I watched it back in Premier Sports,
yeah.
he said this is a team that's lacking in rugby IP, intellectual property, and just not knowing. His reasoning was, and I've said this as well, he said that because Dragons are not used to being in those kinds of positions, because the game has normally gone away from them at that point. So they have no knowledge or experience how to win a game in that position because they never do it. Whereas if you look at Munster, Leinster, Glasgow, and all the top teams, they know what to do. They don't panic. If they're down by 5 points in the last couple of minutes and they're in the opposition 22, they're more than likely going to win and they never panic.
Mhm.
But we panic. That pass from Rodri was desperation because we so badly needed a win. The pressure of not winning, we panicked because we just didn't know what to do because we're so desperate. Not once, by the way, I've watched this game back a couple of times. Not once did Rodri look at Tinas at any point. He had no knowledge of what was going on around him. He didn't even look back at no point.
Tinas must have been screaming at him as well, or if he wasn't, Jesus, mate, you're 10.
He was in the pocket several times, Gav,
Yeah.
and Rodri didn't notice. He was completely oblivious. And that, like I said, that crazy pass, that's desperation.
Well,
That's
I was
a
thinking,
player trying crazy shit because he's just panicking.
do you think, right, and I'm just spitballing this, so I might be entirely wrong. Do you think that Angus called for that, thinking he had more space than he did, but the cover defence got across really quickly?
I don't know. You would be the closest, Gav, being on the terrace.
Yeah,
Did you hear Angus shout for it?
I didn't hear him shouting for it, but
No.
there was space, but the pass wasn't good enough with the
Oh
bounce.
no,
It
the
took all
pass
the
was
pace. It took all the
shocking.
pace off it. I think if it was a perfect pass, I think Angus probably does go over, but it's still risky because it's a huge pass where it would have been a much simpler pass back to go to the.
On a terrible night.
Can't handle this. I'm just devastated. I just can't believe we didn't win. But are we a better team than we were last year? Watching that game,
Yeah,
I
I'd say so.
definitely think we are. Yeah, I really believe we were a much better team. We looked like a team for a start. We couldn't get in that position last year, and okay, we fluffed it. I think I was saying this to you in the pub, Jamie, because obviously we were disappointed. But my disappointment won't really be confirmed now on how I feel about the result. It'll be after the other two home games. Because if we go and lose to Cardiff and lose to the Ospreys, suddenly that draw is an horrendous result. We needed the win. If we can go on and win those two games and you go, okay, 3 at home, 2 wins and a draw, unbeaten, suddenly I'm like, yeah, that was a good result in hard conditions and we wrestled the momentum back when we could have lost it. So I know that's being clever after the fact, but I don't think I can make my mind up how I feel yet. So it means I've probably got another month of pain, really, of spinning around in my own head and staring at the ceiling.
Maybe listen to the
Yeah.
Smiths, mate.
You should always listen to the Smiths. Just don't listen to Morrissey's personal political views.
No, agreed.
See, this is why I would like a rugby analyst on the pod now, because, and this is a genuine question, right? How do you coach rugby intelligence to a team like the Dragons, who have a very low IQ in rugby terms? How do you coach a team that? Do you have, is that above your pay grade, Gav? I mean, because you're involved in coaching and you've played the game a long time. How do you coach rugby intelligence?
Well, I coach kids mainly, so
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's probably the wrong person. I would love to know the answer, though.
It's a bit tricky.
Yeah.
A key bit of it is having the right people in the right positions to make decisions, and to try, even in our under 12s, like we say, only you can kick, no one else, so no one will, and it's about having the right people. It's different. I would imagine part of it is about just knowing what to do, just running through scenarios time and time again, and that kind of mastery approach.
But that's why we've signed those players. That's why we signed Tinas to make decisions at 10. That's why we signed people like Wyn Jones, a British Lion, who was back on the pitch at that point. He could have just went, Rodri, you dick, fucking chuck it back. Surely they could hear everyone in the crowd going, drop it.
Everyone in the Bisley stand was, loads of people shouting it, but he never once looked back. Tinas, you watch it back, he doesn't do it.
I can't imagine we felt like this because it's us, but unless we were so confident because we were making yards, we thought we're just going to score here. I did say to someone on the terrace afterwards, they're like, why didn't we drop the goal? I said, yeah, remember the Lions game though? They could have dropped a goal, but they didn't, and they scored that try to win the game. And he was like, mate, we're not the Lions though, are we?
We're the Dragons. We're not. Lions have been in those situations before, haven't they? And they've probably benefited from it. So
you think fair enough.
Well, you think of the '97 Lions with Gascott's drop goal.
Yeah. So maybe there was a touch of quality to them rather than us. But
my key bit in there is what has happened that it's gone wrong, right? Because I don't know how you improve rugby intelligence, but I've been around enough 9s and enough 10s to know what would have been happening. That the 10 I play with now, Henry, when he wants a ball, you hear it very, very clearly. And I was reffing him playing on Saturday, and it was a windy old day. And our pitch is right down by the marshes, by the sea. It is not an easy place when the wind is high. And he is screaming, our attacking ball is yellow, and he's crying, yellow, 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 every time he wants it. Surely Tinas was doing that.
Yeah.
They'll have a drop goal call. Every club has a drop goal call.
At one point, Tinas and Angus were behind Rodri, weren't they? Quite early on.
Yeah.
You think?
I'm glad
so they're obviously discussing it.
If it got to Angus, that could have ended up in Pontypool, but
the way he was kicking, probably would have.
And I'm not anti-Angus.
We love Angus.
But that was not one of his better games.
No, he wasn't. He really, really wasn't. His interview was quite interesting, though, after, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Literally, all he could say, bearing in mind Rodri was right next to him, he was just like, because I think I can't remember what the interviewer said. So, like, a missed opportunity. Did you think about the drop goal? Just like, yeah. And then he does this. Yeah. It was the third year it was.
Broken, didn't he?
Yeah. And then the third year he just went, yeah.
He pretty much summed up how everyone was feeling at that point, though, wasn't it?
What's it like to be a Dragons fan, Angus? Yeah.
But we played well.
We did, and we should focus on the positives, but we have got to talk about these things as well because we got to learn from them. Friend of the pod, Chris Kerwin, writing for the BBC now. South Wales Argus have given up on Dragons coverage, it seems, which is a real shame. Thinking about cancelling my subscription, to be honest. But anyway, he wrote an article about the Dragons. He covered the game. He said, well, this is what he said about the drop goal or the lack of a drop goal. He said, a lack of experience cannot be blamed. Rodri Williams, Tinas Tabia, Angus O'Brien are seasoned decision makers. Dragons have really been in a match scenario in recent times, but they need to nail such moments. So he's saying what Bernard Chapman was saying, what I've been saying, because they're not used to winning and because they're not used to being in those situations where they could win a game like this, they've got no experience, therefore they really struggle with it. They haven't got the intelligence or experience to deal with those situations. He says it feels like they're a different side this season, but that must quickly translate into wins with huge home derbies with Cardiff and Ospreys to come at the end of the first block, which is what you were saying, Gareth. But here's my thing, and this is why I'm going to push back a little bit because we're saying, oh, they look a different team, more competitive, much better. Here's the problem, and you know this, Gavin, as well. We said exactly the same thing this time last season after a couple of games. When we played
the season before.
Yes, when we played Leinster, we put in a very competitive performance and Robin McBride said different energy and you was on the pod as well. I think that was your first appearance on the pod.
One, yeah.
And we were saying, we look a lot better. We're going to have a good season. We're getting there. What happened? We lost every game from there on in. Injuries accumulated and we just felt the shit. I have a horrible feeling the same thing is going to happen. If we don't win any games in the first block, it's going to go tits up for the rest of the season, because that's when the confidence will fall. That's when heads will drop. That's when the negativity was set in, the weak mindset, which the players already got. And then the injuries accumulate. It's going to be another write-off of a season.
Yeah, and that needed to be a building block, didn't it? Because derby matches, I know we've got a terrible record v Cardiff and a good one v Ospreys, but in reality, derby matches tend to be a little bit of a lottery, Welsh derbies, because of the nature of them. And I don't want to sound like I'm being negative. I don't feel negative about the game. I think we played really well and we looked good. I'm just absolutely gutted. But I probably wasn't that gutted many times last season. More just thought we were shit. So to feel gutted is maybe an improvement, though it doesn't feel great.
But it feels like a loss. Do you know what I mean? It's strange to say this is a team that never wins, and yet we haven't lost, but it still feels like a loss, doesn't it? It's
we
really
need a win, don't we?
it's a very strange feeling. But there are, there were positives. Our defense was a hell of a lot better than it was out in Ulster for a start. And to be fair, when we got Chrissy Coleman, Super Chrissy Coleman, who had a torrid time at the scrum, it has to be said. When he got sent off, those last 10 minutes, I thought, here we go, we're going to crumble now. Heads are going to drop. Same old Dragons. Sharks going to score a couple of tries. Game put to bed. But no, they stuck out there. Their heads didn't drop. We were competitive. We never gave up the fight. So you can't criticize their heart, their tenacity, but the intelligence, yes, I can and I will, because that was stupid. I'm sorry. That was the wrong decision there at the end. And also Dragons fans trying to justify by saying, oh, well, the conditions, it's really difficult conditions. I mean, first of all, Tina scored a penalty, let's not forget, from a further distance in those conditions. Also, I will remind you, in 2019, we played the Scarlets. It was absolutely howling and pissing down with rain, awful conditions. What happened? Sam Davis dropped a drop goal in the dying seconds. We're talking the red, and we won. And believe me, that day was horrible. So don't tell me that the conditions when the favour the drop goal. It did. And we bottled it.
It had died down by then as well, because before you could see the trees.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad then. It wasn't that bad.
Really bad at times. But yeah, it wasn't that bad at the end.
Yeah.
Terrible weather in South Wales as well. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah, they train up Ystrid. They've never had nice weather.
Yeah. All the time I've been to Ystrid, it's not Saint-Tropez.
No, exactly. Let's have a look at what the listener said. And so we asked on our socials, as we do now for all the games, for listeners to give their instant reactions. Very interesting comments, but there were some positive ones as well. Over on Facebook then, so Paul Davis, just dropped the goal. How much experience is in that team? And no one he called the drop goal. Awful decisions. The fans were let down badly. Bit harsh that last sentence. I don't think we were let down badly.
That's an interesting take on it.
The team played well. I didn't feel let down badly. I just felt very, very frustrated and angry by the lack of intelligence in this team. But I wasn't let down badly. That's a bit harsh, personally. Morgan says, how doesn't the ball get to Tinas? He was hanging back, literally practically begging for the ball. Questions need to be asked about that shocking decision. Carl Taylor said, everyone was screaming drop goal. Huge opportunity missed. Delmy often says, scrum wasn't the best. Well, that's an understatement.
That's very generous.
Just a bit, yeah. Why didn't we go for the drop goal? Some great individual efforts, but a positive performance. Mal Keller Griffiths said, overall a fair score, although we had an opportunity to win that game with good game management. Just a lack of leadership decisions and a referee that didn't know about scrummaging. 2 points are better than none. It's fair.
And I agree, and he would know he's the son of a prop, or the father of a prop, rather. So I do agree the ref didn't really know what he was doing with scrummaging.
No, I don't think he did either. Ricky Ford said, when your scrum is under the pump like ours was, and you're giving away penalty after penalty, to come away with a draw is impressive. But in the end, a missed opportunity. Tinas was in the pocket for ages. Rodri should have been looking for him. And that's the point. He never did. Not once did he look back at Tinas at any point. And I just find that bizarre.
Yeah, no.
Mark Jones says, fucking clueless at the end, should have gone for a drop goal. Andy says, honestly, this team just doesn't want to win a game, do they? Thick as shit at the end. Unbelievable. Daniel Green says, no idea why there's no drop goal. Much better effort overall, especially when down to 14. Dyer showed some excellent skills too. So I thought this was a much better game for Rio, because he's getting a lot of stick lately from supporters on the forums and on this pod. You said the same to me in the pub as well, Gav, didn't you? You felt Rio had a good game.
Yeah, really good. I mean, him and Anisi, we didn't get the ball enough. I mean, the conditions would have definitely played a part in that, to be fair. And the scrum. because we weren't getting ball from it.
Yeah, we lacked first phase ball, didn't we?
Yeah.
So,
But he looked really good. There was a point in the second half late on where he had a great carry down the wing by us, and the determination on the guy's face as he bumps off one of the Sharks. Like Rio really had the bit between his teeth. Probably feels he has got a point to prove. Just hope we can have a drier day and he can go out and do his thing. And him and Anisi, you think, yeah, we have got a pair of match winners there if we can get them the ball, which seems to be a bit of an issue. But maybe it wasn't the day for it. And we've talked about as well, Faduli looking really good at 13, but I do think a lot of it does come from Tinas as well. So I'm hoping whoever comes in at 13, because it does look like he'll be out, we will have a better attack for our 2 home games as well, at least. I'm not too sure about Glasgow away.
I don't even want to think about Glasgow right now. And you're going for it, which we'll talk about later. I just don't want to think about that now. Nathan Dark says, ref was diabolical, but I can't believe we didn't go for the drop goal. We've waited years for a centre-like player, and his injury sums up our luck, doesn't it? Yeah, it's typical Dragons injury curse and very Dragonsy, the whole thing about, running into
I think that's when Greg
Angus.
started facing the other way.
Yeah.
well, you said about coaching it. So during our chat, I text friend of the pod, Sam Larner,
Oh, yeah.
rugby analyst and coach, and he said there are ways you can teach rugby intelligence, and it's about building a kind of game scenario activities into coaching. But he said he fears the biggest problem Dragons have had, they've almost spent the last 18 months just focusing on getting basics right, that they haven't had enough time to think about to train on those wider game making decisions.
That's really interesting. Like I said, Sam is a very good analyst. He knows his onions, doesn't he? So that's
probably a good point. If you think South Africa with all those special plays, they've got time to mess around with the playbook. Yeah. We are at the other end of that, aren't we?
He said there are ways you can do it. He said, and I won't word exactly as he did because it perhaps not as positive as we would be, but he said they spent so long trying to improve that they haven't had enough time to think about that rugby intelligence stuff.
Very interesting. Rugby intelligence is definitely lacking in the Dragons, so I do feel quite strongly about that. Mike says a draw is better than a loss, but I feel a win was stolen from us by a poor ref.
Alice I don't think the ref made, because we'd have still won the game if we'd made that decision, wouldn't we?
Exactly. I'm not blaming the ref for us not winning, but I don't think he was very good. And like I said, this is coming from someone who really doesn't like to criticise officials, but I do feel we were hard done by on certain occasions. Alice, who says, we're not used to being that close to a win, so we panicked. That's what I said.
Yeah.
That's what Bernard Chapman said. This is what people are saying. People are right. We're not used to this. Dragons can't win a game for love nor money. So when they're in a position where they can win a game, they don't know what the fuck to do because they're not used to it, right? They haven't got that experience. I've lost where I am now. All right, so sorry. We're not used to being that. We're not used to being that close to a win, so we panicked and we put everything into getting our winning try without seeing the bigger picture. Says gutted about Paya's injury because it looked broken. Well, we won't know until we get the scan results back, but it didn't look good today. Dawn Smith says too many penalties in capital letters. Yeah, it was a tough time, wasn't it? Andrew Jenkins said, I would have taken a draw on 70 minutes, but why didn't we take a drop goal in front of the posts? So many of these, totally everyone's asking why we didn't take the drop goal. Richard Bowman said, poor game management at the end. Why no drop goal? This is a professional sport. Disappointing. Hilary says, simple drop back and slot a drop goal. We had ample opportunities. We tried to be clever and get the try when 3 points would have won it. Poor game management, massive lost opportunity. I don't think it was trying to be clever. I think it was desperation. I don't think Rodri was trying to be clever in that situation.
No.
I thought he was more desperation in that point, not trying to be clever.
Panicky,
yeah, he was. He panicked and just flung a wild pass. But then again, and this is where, just to offer a bit of context, right? Look at it this way. If Angus goes over the try line and scores, mind.
Oh,
right,
yeah.
We're all sat here and everyone on rugby social media say, what a pass. Great vision from Rodri.
Yeah.
And don't forget, he had player of the match, Rodri.
Yeah, well, that was another weird decision, but...
So we had this conversation in the pub as well, didn't we, Gav? we didn't agree that Rodri had a good game.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
putting aside what happened in the last minute,
Yeah.
he had a very good game. But we was like, was he really Dragons player of the match? We wasn't so convinced. Who would you have given it to then, Gavin? Who do you think was our best player?
I thought Wainwright had a great game for me. Just absolutely got around the field, hit racks, carried hard. He was the best player for me.
Because a couple of people told us Payer. It's like, well, he only played like 50 odd minutes. Can you really give it to? And he was like, well, yeah, because he was outstanding.
I thought Payer was great,
Yeah.
but he was only on the field for 50 minutes, like you say.
Yeah.
But
He had
I
the
thought
big
Wayno
moments, didn't he? But
Wayno had a big, solid game and took his try well. And I would say this as a forward, picking that ball up from the back of a scrum that's going backwards on jet-powered roller skates, and to carry it forward the way he did, yeah.
it was awesome on it.
He's oh,
He
he's
deserves
so
better.
good. Do you know what I was going to say? That I don't want to keep. I'm going to sound very negative on this pod, but honestly, we don't deserve him. We don't. We don't deserve a player like Wainwright. I'm sorry, we don't.
I love Aaron Wainwright. Best player on the park again, as he very often is, never has a bad game. And you just think he should be playing in big European knockout games.
He should.
He's that good. He's absolute quality. And you just think,
but he's a Newport boy and he wants to play for us.
And I can't fault him for that, but
No.
I feel like at times we're holding him back. And I do watch this sometimes, and I see him slog his guts out in a losing cause week in, week out, and I think, oh, we just don't deserve you, mate.
So,
you deserve better.
A bit like Morrissey, another person whose art is great and artistry is terrible. Is he not? Do you think it could be a kind of touch of the Matt Letizier's? He's from here. He's a massive fish in a small pond, and he likes that. He likes all the home comforts. He likes being near his home, and he also likes the fact he is a very integral part of it. Do you think there's an element of that? I'm sure Wayno in 10 years' time isn't going to develop mad conspiracy theories like Matt Letizier.
Well, like Matt Letizier said, makes you think. It makes you think, doesn't it?
Doesn't make Matt Letizier think, sadly.
He is ingrained in the fabric round here. Like, he coaches at the Eds, his mates. Yeah,
I love him. He's a Newport boy through and through.
He
and
is.
I know how much he loves the Dragons.
At the family event day, the amount of time he was given to kids as well. Like, what an absolute ambassador for the club. But like, he signed last season, didn't he, for 2 years? You think fair play to him, legend.
Yes, it's his last season now. He was.
And now you think, mate, now go get a big move, go win something, go win a trophy. You're that good. You should be challenging at the top.
He's a hell of a player.
He could go to, I wouldn't want to see him go to a Welsh region because he's.
No, that's a sideways move. I want him to go to England, France.
No. Don't
money.
be like traitor Fatty Basham either.
I think Wainwright would love French rugby. He would.
Yeah.
Traitor Fatty Basham.
He is a fat, lazy player, and he hate him.
But he didn't say that when he was still with us on the pod. He wasn't saying that there.
No, he's my favourite player. I thought he should have been playing for the Lions.
I'd love to see him in French rugby. My fear is the Matt Letizier thing again. No, I think he's so ingrained in Newport. He's so ingrained in Newport that the idea of going to Toulon or Toulouse probably doesn't appeal to him. I might be entirely wrong. He might.
I think that's bonkers if that's the case. As much as
I don't know. I've never met the bloke. He could love, but he's one of those blokes. If you cut him in half, he'd be black and amber inside. I think
he's one of the few players I think, along with and Ivan Owen, Harry Keddy, who genuinely love the Dragons and loves playing for us. Whereas I think some players just pick up a paycheck really and move on.
Yeah.
I have it on good authority that Harry Keddy over the years has been approached by a very close rival of ours a few times for more money and has said he couldn't possibly play for them. So
I've heard similar.
Yeah.
Good man.
Fair play.
Fair play to him. Positive comments. let's have some positive comments because I haven't read them out yet. So
What
these are
about?
the game. The game
Ours.
itself.
I
Yes.
am joking. I thought we played really
God,
well.
you are unbelievably negative tonight,
I-
Gareth.
I'm
Jesus
just sad.
Christ.
I really wanted to win.
He's had
Oh.
he's too long round us too, I think, Jamie. I think that's
Honest
the
to God,
problem.
everyone thinks I'm the negative one. You want to cheer
No,
up,
I
mate? You're
am.
bringing the
I
pod
am.
down. Jesus
No,
Christ. Right.
we played well. We played well.
Positive comments. Peter Fitzmaurice said, "What a vast improvement from last season." Bit too early to say that, but okay. We could have won the game with a drop. We could have won the game with a drop goal, but we was in a very strong position to score a try. So understandable. No, I'm not sure about that one either, Peter. We were reffed off the park. Yeah, okay, yeah, we'll agree with that one. I thought it was a great performance. Neil Thompson says we are on an upward trajectory. Daniel Holmes says an impressive performance, all told. Shame they didn't go for the drop goal. However, considering the opposition and the weather, great effort and 2 points in the bank. It's very easy to twist it and have this positive feel to it, and yet I still get angry at the fact that we blew it at the end, you know. But I get the points that's being made. I really do. We still didn't lose, and it was a good performance. Hilary says draws a draw at the end of the day against a very good Shark side. I thought we played well in awful conditions.
Were
Connor,
they a very good Shark side?
well, it wasn't their first
No.
choice by a long way, but I mean, you still had quality players in there, didn't you? Still had Lucanu Am, Jane Henrik,
Well,
Flower.
I thought Lucanio Arm played very poorly.
Yeah, he's gone off the boil. Yes, big
Yeah,
time. Yeah.
Hendrickson was good. The man with the greatest name in all of sport, Pepsi Buthelezi, he was a handful as he always is. But yeah,
Shatuka, Van der Merwe as well, the winger they signed from
oh
the
yeah,
Lion.
yeah.
He is a pocket rocket, isn't he? He's like
He
a
loves-
knockoff
Oh.
Charles Copley, but he's
He
really,
loves a
really
little
He
good.
was
hitch
getting
kick,
some
doesn't he?
stick, mind. He there was a couple of times the ball went up to him and we were saying he don't want it, he don't want it, and he did let the ball bounce quite randomly. So he was getting pelters off the terrace, and I felt like we actually got into him quite well. But
He's good with ball in hand, though. He's a very dangerous player. He caused Glasgow a lot of problems when
yeah,
Sharks played up there. What else have we got? Colin Wheeler says, should have taken the drop goal. Otherwise, things are moving forward. And then finally, Chris Allender says, for the first time in over the year, we didn't lose a league game at home. Like winning, losing is a habit. We're far more competitive than we were last year. Again, I think it's a bit too early to say that. If we carry on at the level we've shown in the first 2 games, the wins will come, he says. We fixed some of the problems we had last year, but the last step is game management and mentality. I'm encouraged by what I've seen so far, given where we've been. So I think we can all agree it was a really good performance. It knows
Yeah.
how, and it, believe me, we were there, Gav. It was horrible, wasn't it? It was absolutely horrible.
it was
Storm Amy
horrendous.
really took
It
hold
was
of
really
that
bad.
game.
Yeah.
Watch it on TV. I don't think the pictures justify it, to be honest.
Oh,
It
no,
was
it looked-
No, look
horrendous.
See on the big screen, and it was a different picture to what you're actually looking at.
Well, there
Yeah.
was one point. I think Wayno's gone down on the floor, and you could see how much water came up when he went down. You could see
Yeah.
how torrential it was and how heavy it was.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not criticizing Dragons for the performance because, like I said, I've seen this Dragons team many times. You know, when they give away loads of penalties, they get a man sent off, their heads drop, and then they just crumble. That hasn't happened.
No.
There's a lot of fight and endeavour and tenacity in this Dragons team, but yet again, the mentality, decision making, intelligence, the leadership as well. As to be said, the leadership is really letting this team down in those areas that have got to be fixed. But overall, we didn't lose, and we didn't lose.
That last 10
That's
minutes,
something, isn't it?
I'm going to end on a positive. That last
Yeah.
10 minutes, last season, if we'd gone in that last 10 minutes in the position we were, then lost Chris Coleman, we'd have fallen apart.
That's what I said earlier. I did
Yeah.
think when Super Chrissy Coleman got sent off, I thought that's it now. We're going to just crumble. And
There,
to be
there was
fair,
a tenacity. There was a
Yes.
tenacity we've not had before.
yes.
Just
But it's
need to
the top
match
two.
that. Yeah,
It's the top 2 inches.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
It comes back to it.
Bearing in mind, we had our 2 first choice props back on as well, who must have been shattered because Coleman had went
Yeah.
off and Martinez went off with a head knock as well.
That's right.
Yeah, Rob Hand looked like he was absolutely exhausted at the end of that game. Which
Well,
I
imagine being
sad.
halfway to the shower and being told you got to go back
Yeah.
on.
65 minutes of tight dead against South African team. No thanks.
Yeah. So plenty of positives. Let's not be
Yeah.
too doom and gloom. It's just frustrating because we know we should have, well, we could have and should have won it, even though we had no functioning set piece. We did have a scrum, and yet we came so close. Just some bad decision making at the end, but overall positivity to take into the next game.
Yeah,
a very
agreed.
tough away trip to Glasgow. Right, I think it's time for a Gwent Rugby roundup. Gav, what's the latest? Newport are still struggling. They're like the Dragons.
Yes,
They can't win a game.
Yes, well, let's start with SRC and Newport.
Mm,
Newport played on the Thursday night.
yeah.
They took a trip down to Swansea and lost 24-14. Cardiff, Ebbw after beating Cardiff by 60 points to 20 the previous week, could not sadly do the double on them because the posts at the Arms Park were blown over by Storm Amy, and the pitch was unplayable. And
right.
Newport now the only side in the SRC from Gwent not with win after Pontypool got their first win of the season, beating Carmarthen Quins 24-21.
Good result.
So into the Prem, and Bargoed lost 11 points to 28 at home against Premiership champions Pontypridd. Cross Keys beaten at the end in the death by Bezzai 22-20. Newbridge tough day at home, losing 33 points to 7 to Merthyr. So we then go to Division 1 East Central, and Caerphilly, sadly their game was postponed against Rhydyfelin. I imagine that was weather related. Division 1 East, Bryn Mawr 21, Abergwenny 3. And if anywhere the weather's going to be poor, it's going to be in Bryn Mawr. So the fact that they could play their game there, because it's one of the highest pitches in the country. Newport High School Old Boys 10-all draw with Dowless. Monmouth lost 31 points to 19 at home to Blackwood, and Blaenavon took a trip to Glamorgan and lost 49-0 to Nelson. Into Division 2 East, Croeso-Ceiliog beat St Genedd 30 points to 27. Cwmbran lost 19 points to 32 at home to Abercarn. Pill Harriers just edged Caldicot 20 points to 17. And Rumney beat Pontypool United 49 points to 15. And Ask 22, Newport Saracens 17. Into Division 3 East, and we start with the posh Gwent derby. Caerleon 19, Shepstone 14.
So I'm just laughing at posh. That is so true. It is true.
if you ask someone to name the two poshest towns in Gwent, you'd say Caerleon and Shepstone, wouldn't you?
You would, absolutely. Yeah. You're right. You're right.
You might say Caldicot at the posh, but you know. And then Fleur-de-Lis 17, Garndiffe 40, and apologies to Garndiffe for I discovered are one of our teams. Machen 10, Gwynafod 29, Nantyglo 28, Risca 14, New Panteg 24, RTB Ebbw 7, and then we go into Division 4 East. The other posh Gwent side, Crickhowell 8, Oakdale 20. Oakdale, not as posh.
No.
Crumlin versus Bedwellty was postponed. Derry 19, Whitehead 7. Could have done with Wayno. Llanilloch 29, Tredegar Ironsides 10. And Pontland Fry 38, Abertwsog 7. Into Division 5 East, and Beaufort versus Hafod yr Ynys was postponed. That's the second game Beaufort have postponed in the... I'm hoping that's weather. That's weather and not other issues, because I've got a massive soft spot for Beaufort. They hosted my club on a tour, and I've got a lot of happy times up at that club. Betos 53, Abersychan 30, Blackwood Stars 40, Fordside 10, Hartridge 13, Bargoed Athletic 33, Trinant 17, Hollybush 20. And then into Division 6 East, Mago versus Brynifil was postponed. Friends of the Pod, New Tredegar 64, Girlin 7. Yeah, they really, I know the leagues have been reorganised, but New Tredegar are too strong for that level, I would suggest. Old Hilarians 0, Heroine 27, couldn't read my own writing then. St. Julian's High School All Boys 12, Penalty Athletic 21. And then into the Dragons Athletic League. The second team at Posh Gwent Derby, Killeen Helmets versus Chepstow Druids, was postponed. The Caldicott Geese beat the Blackwood Griffins 27-22. The Gowndifife Gorillas beat Pill Development 15-12. Machen Quarrymen lost 20 points to 34 to Gwenavyd Athletic, and Risker Athletic versus Abergavenny Quins was postponed. And going into our final bit on old man uses technology badly. We've had a message from our friends at the All-Stars, and they are holding a casino night Christmas party. That's on the 21st of November at Rodney Parade, starting at 6:30. It's a black tie dress code, fancy. Tickets are £20 per person or £35 per couple. And if you would like to attend that, if you can get in touch with dosctravel@gmail.com, and they'll be able to sort out the ticket for what will no doubt be a very good night.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for that, Gavin. Did any of you watch the Swansea Newport game on Thursday night?
I only saw highlights.
No, I haven't.
Because, I'm contrary to popular belief, I'm not a Newport fan. People think I am, but I'm not. But what on earth is going on with Newport? I mean, don't forget, they are the defending title champions. They've lost their first 4 matches. It's the first time they've done that since September 2022. According to Rob Rees, who we've had on this podcast from Ebervale fan and from the Super Rugby Cymru pod, he's saying that if they lose 5 in a row to start a season, they'll be the worst since the 70s, 1974. They got Carmarthen Quins away next as well, Newport, and I don't particularly fancy him for that. What is going on there? Strange.
And the team hasn't changed hugely, has it?
Not really, but
Shea Hope called up with us, isn't it?
Yes.
But apart from that,
also Jordan Morris pulled out injured. Now there's a kid who has no luck, and I fear he's going to be the next Leon Brown. I do, because he's just picking up injury after injury all the time.
Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of luck, does he? Bless him.
Not at all. Not at all.
Specimen as well, isn't he?
Yes, it's a real shame. I hope he can get over his injuries. He's got so much potential. I know they're different positions. I know Leon was a tight head, but I just hope he doesn't go that way. He's just constantly picking up injuries, and it's going to hinder his development. But it's just really strange with Newport. I don't like Matt O'Brien starting from a 10 and Jack Lloyd being at 12. That's not right. And
Jack
I still
Lloyd
got a
doesn't
problem.
look like a 12 for me
No.
in any way, shape, or form. He's a proper 10.
I still got an issue with Matt O'Brien turning out for Newport as well. I don't like this half foot, foot in the Dragons camp, a foot in the Newport camp. It needs to be one or the other. I don't particularly like it. I know a lot of supporters seem to think that he retired from Newport, but he hasn't. We need Jack. No, but we need Jack playing at 10.
Yeah.
Let him develop at 10. Why is Matt O'Brien still playing for Newport?
Because
he wasn't very good.
He's not going to be a 12 for us, is he?
No, he's never going to be a 12. He's going to, that's harming his development. And I think we discussed this on Messenger. When you do think with Angus, well, if he wasn't doing that, it's not like he was coaching. Sorry, Matt. Yeah, sorry, Matt O'Brien. He's not going to be coaching Thursday night. He might have been sat at home watching telly, but it's just having that unwavering commitment to the Dragons as your first point of call, I think. And I don't think he should be turning out a 10.
If you're an elite sportsman, can you do your sports coach? And if we are an elite level club, no matter what the results say, can you do the job part-time?
No. And you hear like with the top coaches that, their work ethic, they're relentless and you leave no stone unturned. You think, well, you can't be thinking about us when he's going through a Newport playbook to make sure he knows the calls.
I don't like it. I'm sorry, don't sit right with me. Somebody should put a stop to it. Whether it's at Newport Dragons, I will let it to continue. If I was at Dragons, I'd be having a word. I don't like it at all. It just doesn't sit right. And a lot of supporters don't like it either. So, just let Jack play at 10. And Matt needs to stay at the Dragons. Right. Agreed. Anyway, that is Super Rugby Cymru done. That's finished. Let's look ahead to Saturday night. I say look ahead. Saturday night, Dragons away to Glasgow. Oh boy, Glasgow lost.
We've got a great record up there, haven't we?
Oh yeah, marvelous, brilliant. We did beat them during COVID though.
Yeah.
Remember they scored a try, didn't they? And the fly half
Oh,
missed
yeah.
a conversion right in front of the post. Was it the South African Thompson? Do you remember that?
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one of the best ever wins from the Dragons. Well, we deserved to win that game. We were much better than Glasgow. We were much better than them that day. But yeah, that's when we had Tompkins and Jamie Roberts and Holmes playing for us. So as I was going to say, Glasgow lost to Benetton on the weekend, thanks to a last-minute drop goal. I mean,
Ooh,
you couldn't
fancy
write it,
that.
could you? Benetton did what we should have done. Yeah. So no doubt Glasgow are going to be hungry, angry, disappointed, and going to take out all their frustrations out on the Dragons. Brilliant. Can't wait to watch it. But here's the thing. We play Glasgow on Saturday night, and then just 6 days later, we have Cardiff at home. So this is a short turnaround here. Now, I think, and I don't know what you guys think, I think we need to make changes for this one if we have to play this smart, okay? I would be tempted to give Aaron Wainwright a rest for this game and keep him fresh for Cardiff. And I'd be thinking about giving guys like Mackenzie Martin, Harry Bedell, Steve Cummins, Dylan Lewis, Rodri Jones, these guys,
Levi
the squad
Douglas.
players.
Yeah.
Levi Douglas can probably have a start. I think they need the opportunities because let's be honest,
Agree.
it is highly, highly, highly unlikely we're going to come close to beating Glasgow, right? And with a 6-day turnaround, we've all agreed that Cardiff is a massive game. I know, Gareth, you
Yeah.
think about beating Cardiff every single day of your life, don't you? I mean, it's eating you
Yes, I do.
from the outside in every day. You know, you're thinking about Cardiff. So it feels like this is the sensible thing to do now to ring the changes.
Yeah,
We might get
totally
some
agree.
criticism. We might get some criticism about that. You know, some people might say, "Well, you're conceding defeat." In some ways we are, and bringing the league into disrepute, whatever. I'm not saying we got to make 14, 15 changes, but we have got
Yeah.
tinker things. This is actually
100%.
you talk about Philo's Tombola, Tiatia's Tombola, Gav. This is the game where I actually think we should ring the changes. This seems like the right time to do it. I mean, why are we on a 6-day turnaround? Why is it always us to get shafted in the scheduling for? By the way, we have all the home games in the first block, and then we're on 6-day turnarounds.
It's not just that. I mean, that is a
Rating.
valid point. Like a 6-day turnaround to essentially the biggest home game of the season, despite the record. But we can't just burn out players anyway. You do need to just freshen players up. We tried it last season and we ended up with a horrid injury list. And yeah, I just think when you look at that team, who can we not be without for Cardiff? You can't lose Aaron Wainwright. He's our best player. We've already said it. So I think he has a rest. I would like to wrap up De Beer in Cotton Wool because we don't have a 10 to step in. But I don't feel
Probably
that.
have to play Angus when or you'd have to be looking at Harry Ford or Jack Lloyd.
So I imagine he plays, but I would maybe look to potentially take him off. I'd swap the props around. I'd give Wynn and Rob Hunt a rest, or at least have them on the bench.
Well, Dylan Lewis is a Welsh international with 50-odd caps. It's not like we're downgrading significantly, is it?
Yeah, exactly. And bringing in Rodri, Loosehead as well. He's an international, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think whoever he picks at 13 will be interesting because I feel it has to be the same 13 who's going to play against Cardiff. That's the one position we need consistency if Fatuli is going to be out. I know Anisi can play there, but I don't know whether he goes back to Westwood if he's over the head knock. And I'd really like to see Bedell get a run in the back row. I'd probably go like a Keddy, a Big Mac, and a Bedell because I think we're going to be so up against it. Let's get someone who can hopefully get over the ball, stem the tide with a couple of jackal penalties, and he is that guy. No news on Thomas Young. No news on Seb Davis. Cheers for that, Dragons. Come on.
Yeah, I really don't like. I'm sorry, this is where I get annoyed at the club now. And can you just tell us when they'll be back? We don't need to know the extensive medical reports. It's not a business. But can you just give fans a time frame? Because the comments on the forums onto the pod is, when are they back? Do you know when they're back? How long they're out for? We don't know because the club won't tell us. Well, come on now, boys. Come on, Dragons. Give a bit more information, please. And tell us when Payer's going to be back as well. Because they're slacking a bit on this. Because to be fair, last season the Dragons were very good at giving injury updates.
Yeah.
On the website, on the team announcement, they'd always have players unavailable, and they tell you what was wrong. And they didn't tell you when they'd be back, but they gave updates, and we're not getting anything like that from him this season. That's really disappointing. Can you please just tell us when Young is back? But I don't like it, see, because I think, why are you not telling supporters? Is it because the injury is worse than you feared? It makes me question it.
I would like to introduce a new feature as well. This is a new weekly feature called Does Funaki Exist? Currently, the answer is probably not.
Well, you keep bringing up this Funaki guy. I don't know who he is. I think you're getting confused with someone else. I've never heard of this guy.
Have you seen what somebody has written on the Wikipedia for him?
No, I haven't. What's it said?
Solomone Funaki is apparently a rugby player who plays for for Dragons RFC. However, nobody has seen him. Gareth's brother sent me that in a message.
Again, it's so Dragonsy, isn't it? Everything about this club is just a joke.
I'll read it exactly so you know it's because it is really it's a delightful thing.
Can we not be a joke shop of a team for just one season? Honest to God.
No.
Api Kakalaya Solomone Funaki is a myth. A Tongan rugby union player who apparently plays as a loose forward for Dragons RFC.
Right, Gareth, I got strong suspicions. Was I Loaf who wrote that, do you think?
He's not told me that he's done it, but it's the type of thing he would do.
That's what I'm thinking. It sounds like Loaf to me. Loaf's been up to no
he's
good.
a walking stand-up.
He was the one who sent it to me, so
Yeah, he was in good voice Friday. I'll give him that. But dear me,
was it him counting in that chant?
Oh, unbelievable! Aaron Wainwright, that when we scores the try, and you can literally hear him going 1, 2, 3, 4, counting in the crowd.
The mic picked that up.
Yeah,
and I burst out laughing.
I'm rewatching the game, hungover Saturday for all my sins, and the wife's gone, "Is that Loaf I can hear?" Yes, it is. That's him counting the boys in. He's fair play. He is good. We'd miss him if he won there.
He's a hell of a boy. I'll give him that. Fair play though. I know you mentioned earlier, but the Terrace were in very good voice on Friday night. You guys were loud. There was some bloody action in the Bisley, mind. I was screaming. There was quite a few of us who were, it was quite lively than it normally is in the Bisley, But no, I felt the Terrace.
Well, people dropping the canapes.
Yeah, I mean, I dropped my prawn sandwich in excitement because I thought Titus was going to knock one over, but not doing that.
That shows how we played, though. It was a side that we could get behind, regardless of the last minute. If the game ended 5 minutes earlier, we'd have gone fair play. We fucking deserved that draw, and instead we're disappointed.
I thought the supporters were great, and it's like I'm not going to be that guy who says we got the best supporters because I think that's cringe as hell, and it's just a little bollocks because every supporter says that about their club. Yeah. But I do think we've got the most loyal supporters. We got very passionate and loyal, and they have been through a lot. And they've always said no other set of supporters will put up with what we've put up with the Dragons. They wouldn't tolerate it at Cardiff or Scarlets. Their crowds would significantly drop, and the interest would drop. But there's a large, hardcore group of following at the Dragons who follow this team week in, week out, and they're not rewarded for their loyalty. But I totally agree. They turn up at Rodney Parade and they give everything on the Terrace, and they're loud, and I love it. And I just wish they were rewarded. I wish this team could just win a game for them. I really do.
Well, we've got a lot more songs lined up if we start winning as well. It's going to get crazy, but
we might not get to hear them this season, though, Gareth. I think that's the problem. I don't think you're going to be hearing any victory songs.
Bugger off. We will. We're going to beat Cardiff.
He's obsessed with that Cardiff game, Gavin. It's like he doesn't know that we haven't beaten him for 10 years. Poor bloke.
We've all got to have an obsession, Jamie.
Yeah. I don't care about Cardiff anymore. Like I said to me, it's a foregone conclusion now, so I don't worry about it.
Well,
I'm numb to the disappointment and pain.
I talked about the Smiths earlier in the pod. Now I'm going to make a literary allusion, and he's a bit like Captain Ahab in Moby Dick, beating Cardiff as his white whale, and it will drive him relentlessly to his doom.
Poor bloke.
It is, yeah.
I don't know what the future holds, but obviously, if the club does get cut or whatever, like would we ever beat Cardiff before we get disbanded, like, it does make
That
you
would be
wonder,
nice.
if we're going to go out, can you just make sure you beat Cardiff and then we'll
Yes,
just,
please.
Yeah,
accept
we'll
it then.
fold then. It'll be fine.
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, we do not want the club to fold.
No,
Just a bit,
I was
right.
being
So,
light-hearted.
yes, of course, we're just joking. We don't want Dragons to go. They drive me mad, absolutely mad, this team, and I really hate them at times, but I don't want you to go. Right, Gareth, you're actually going to this game up in Glasgow. Good luck, first of all. Hope you enjoy yourself. What are
Cheers.
you expecting from this game?
Well, I'm going up expecting a win. No, yeah. No, I'm not that naive. Look, I think
Dear.
look, we've mentioned let's make changes, and I think we don't want to burn players out. And I think a couple of players, let's wrap them up for the Cardiff game because we've got to target home games and Welsh derbies, regardless of who it is, and being Cardiff. But let's go out there and try and get 4 tries. I think let's get Hugh Anderson on the pitch. I'd pick a Nisi. He needs more game time anyway. Let's get him on the ball. Rio hasn't had a lot of ball anyway. I'd probably keep those 2 on the wing and get Hugh Anderson in. Let's go out there, score 4 tries. I don't care if they put 50 points on us and we've rotated the side, but we come away with a point because we've scored 4 tries. All I care about is accumulating points now. And you're looking at that league table, and you've already mentioned Zebra and other teams picking up wins. Well, we need to pick up points here and there, and then sneak a few home wins as well, hopefully in the Welsh derbies. So just go out there, play some expansive rugby, get into them. We look like a side that's going to stay in the fight a bit more. So it's not going to be, I'm not expecting one of those games where we're going to concede 70 points up there like we have done in the past.
No.
But I don't expect to win. Glasgow are a phenomenal team. They're unbelievable at home. Their record's insane. But let's target that bonus point and yeah, let's give a few players a run out as well. And I'm expecting quite a lot of beers watching it as well.
Oh, you'd have to. You definitely need to get half cut before you go and watch the Dragons in Scotstoun.
Definitely.
Gavin, it's a foregone conclusion, let's be honest. But can we get anything out of this game, or is it just damage limitation? Like, are you with Gareth? We can get at least a bonus point. Are we capable of that?
Yeah. Why not?
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I think we could. I think it's more likely from 4 tries. I can see us losing 46-22 more than I can see us losing 27-21 or something.
Yeah, you can't see Dragons putting in a performance like Cardiff did out in Munster, can you? You can't see it anywhere near as close as that. And that was a great result for Cardiff as well when they lost.
All I seen was that they lost. Just a nice big L. Didn't see anything else. Yeah,
but I can guarantee you they'll be happier with 2 points than we are.
No, yeah,
that's the difference. They're happy with their 2 points. We're not. They're looking very good. I think all this the over-the-top reaction from some of their supporters. He's not dead, lads. Jockey's not dead. He's just moving next door. Like, the way they were talking about him, like he'd passed away. Get a grip. They'll be fine.
That good a coach anyway.
He's a good coach. I do.
He's all right. Well, he's fine. Like Toby Booth is fine as well. But both those clubs who are those supporters talk about those coaches as if they've won the game at the end of Space Jam to keep us safe from alien invaders, as opposed to what they've got is just not a bad record with quite poor sides.
I make Toby Booth highly though, but
I
get your point.
Dubious decisions from Jockey last season, especially regarding subs.
Yeah, we won't forgive him for selecting Liam Belcher for
I was
going to say,
and thinking Liam Belcher is an international rugby player.
Yeah, that's a big black mark against him. But having said that, mate, I'm delighted he's Wales back coach because I think our attack will be really good. I think I actually think it's bad news for Cardiff fans. Or even though I think they'll be absolutely fine, I think they'll end up giving Van Zyl the job there anyway because they look pretty good this season, Cardiff. Unfortunately,
that's a good coaching team that Tandy's brought around him, and I wasn't overly enamoured with the choice, but he's doing what he's doing, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, but anyway, we're getting sidetracked now.
Yeah.
In terms of this game, for me, I just want to see us be competitive and come away with a bonus point. I think that's the best we could hope for. I do think we should ring the changes. We might get criticism for it, but we got to think ahead. Those home games are far more important than this game, to be honest. This game isn't really important in the grand scheme of things. And look, if we lose, it'll be what everyone expected. And if we manage to get anything out of the game, then it's a bonus.
Yeah.
It's
I
a
don't
free,
think
it's a free hit.
anyone outside of the Dragons doesn't care who we pick anyway, so we won't get any criticism. We're not a team who really, who are the Dragons picking? Because they just think we're crap.
I think most people would
Right,
struggle to
yeah.
name more than 2 of our players.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
because we're not relevant, though, are we? Because
No.
we lose every week, we're just not relevant. This is something we talk about on the group chat. Look, like you said, Gareth, like you think that in the Welsh rugby media we treat this an afterthought and what people say about this, but we haven't earned that respect. We are pretty irrelevant as things stand. I mean, look at Zebra, by the way. Zebra are 2 from 2, right? And they're in the top 4 of the URC.
Yeah.
Imagine
But, you know,
saying that a couple, 2 or 3 years ago, thinking the Zebra are a far better team than the Dragons and they're winning games. But that's where we are now.
we're currently above Leinster, though, so,
Well, there is that.
swings and or roundabouts.
As of now, we are better than Leinster.
Yeah.
That's what
Stop
the table says.
count.
Stop the count. Absolutely, yeah. Oh dear. So look, we all could agree, Dragons ain't going to win on Saturday, but let's be competitive. Let's try and get something out of it, and we see how we get on. No more injuries, though, please, because they're
Yeah.
starting to accumulate now. There was people on Facebook I thought was getting a little bit over the top about all these injuries piling up. It's like no, it's not that many. It's okay. It's we're not
There's more
we're
than
not
we'd
at last.
like.
Yeah, we're not at last season's levels yet. But now I am starting to think, okay, no more injuries now. Losing player like that when he was our best player and seeing what he could do, it's gutting, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
Who
that
would you
because
pick
no
at
one else.
13 now if everyone's fit? Without obviously with Fatuli out.
Well, Westwood's the next
It's
cab off
gonna
the
have to
rank,
be
isn't
Westwood,
it?
but it's the defense though. I like Joe Westwood a lot. He's young, he's earning on the job, but his defense just it's not there.
It don't fill me with confidence, I'll be
No.
brutally honest.
But Anisi can play centre as well, mind.
And
He was
that's
brought in as a wing centre, maybe. I don't like the idea of a Nairo Owen and Ackerman playing together because I don't think it works because they're 2 12s.
yeah,
So
Yeah,
they
if you,
both play similar, don't they?
it would be a big call because he's one of our most consistent players. But if you're going to bring Ackerman in, I think you'd have to drop an Nairo
Yeah.
because I just don't think it works with one of them at
Well,
13.
I think Ackerman is a different kind of player because he's a bit more of a lump, isn't he?
Maybe
Yeah,
that's
he
what we
wants to
need.
dominate. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you can play him at 12. And I'd like to see an EC with more ball in hand and a bit more space because he's got lovely feet.
Well, I was critical of him against Ulster.
Yeah, so was I. Yeah.
But I have to say, when he did get, and he didn't get the ball much, but when he did, and you're right, Gav, I still think his pace is a bit of an issue. He's not quick. He's not a fast winger, but he's technically very good and he's got very good feet.
Yeah.
Like he was
he
dancing around a
creates
couple
space, doesn't he?
yeah, the way he danced around a couple of the Sharks players, I really liked. And when he had the ball, you felt like something was going to happen. I didn't see that out in Ulster, but I did.
No.
That's why I feel like if we go him at 13, it's a higher ceiling in the games than Westwood. It's more of a gamble because he is probably more of a winger, but I feel like there's a bigger chance of him doing something in attack.
We've played Jared Rosser at 13. Like, I think we're willing to have a go
No,
at anything.
no,
No, I'm not saying we should. I'm saying we
I
have.
know.
So
And
putting an EC at 13 is not
and that needs to stop.
a
I
massive
don't want to
stretch.
see Jared
No,
Ross at 13.
I like Jared Rosser, he was my player of the season last year. I've got a lot of time for him, but he's a 13 in the same way that I'm a giraffe.
Mm-hmm. That's it. We've got a lot more options out wide, though, haven't we, than we do at 13. So if Anisi can play, then I'd be really
He has played there
tempted to
for
give him-
Tonga, and he has played there in the NPC.
I feel like, but if he's gonna, I want whoever's gonna play there to play the next like 3 games in a row. Give him a proper chance. Don't chop and change. So whoever goes against Glasgow. But yeah, I think I'd go for him.
See, if we had Harry Wilson at the club, we wouldn't have this dilemma. Your faces then.
I wonder if he can catch yet or pass.
Listen, if he could catch a ball, tackle, and pass, he'd be great.
Yeah,
He'd be a really good player.
There's some work-ons, as they
Just
say.
a bit, yeah. Oh, bless him. I really wanted that to work, but no.
I wanted it to work as well, but stuff happens, doesn't it?
It certainly does at this club, yes.
Yeah.
There we go then. I think we'll wrap it there. Gareth, have a nice time. in
All right,
Glasgow.
Did we give a prediction or are we just?
Oh, we don't need to, do we? Oh, come on then. Let's have your prediction, Gareth.
Glasgow by 20, but we will score 4 tries. I think it'll be like 50-28.
Right. Okay. Gavin.
Glasgow by 16, but I also think we'll score 4 tries.
Okay.
I'm going 40-24.
I'm going Glasgow by 28, and the Dragons score 1 try.
Okay.
And on that
Bloody hell,
cheery note,
Jamie.
I will end the pod there. Sorry, I've got to be honest. We haven't got hope in hell. No.
1
it's not.
try.
Yeah. Well, you know
I
how bad
can't-
the attack is, though. So why do you
I
think
can't
we
wait
can
to
score
fly
4?
up there now.
Rather you than me, mate. I gotta be honest. I would go to Scottstown, but I don't think I could go to watch the Dragons. I gotta be honest. No. I just hope. I hope we're competitive, and I hope
I'm going there to watch Glasgow, not to watch the Dragons.
No, seriously though, I hope they, put in a good
Yeah.
performance, for you guys as well, and any travelling supporters that are up there, because we know we're not going to win, but let's be competitive at the very least. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Right, we'll wrap it up there. Gentlemen, thank you as always. Thank you to our friends at Riverside Sports Bar for their continued support of the pod. Until next time, thanks for listening, and always remember, boys and girls, it's the hope that kills you. Until next time, ta-ra.